Right, so all of that you didn't hear anyway, but all I said was the usual stuff. Just, I'll probably edit this after. I might forget to edit this after, but if I do remember to edit this after, thanks everyone for joining. Appreciate it. My name is Kieran, of course, from Red Dog Weekly. I'm sorry that the audio messed up in the first take. Hopefully you can hear it now. Yeah, technology, man. Sometimes it's for you, sometimes it's against you. What can you do? But yeah, ultimately, I was just saying in the introduction that it's a massive game in the footballing calendar. And actually, United and City don't have the same sort of disparity as we've seen in the last few seasons when we played them, where they've been 10, 15 points ahead of us. So, it's actually a lot closer now than it has been in previous seasons. We're only 4 points off Man City. A win would obviously take us 1 point behind them. And they are definitely outlined as one of the title challenges this season. And the question I want to ask you guys is, would a win for Manchester United in this game make you start getting your hopes up about a potential title push? I mean, I'm not sure myself. I know a lot of people have talked about that, but I want to get your thoughts. Let me know in the live chat. Also, if you're watching as a video, as I was saying in the intro that you couldn't hear, please do leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. And we obviously stream this live, but if you're watching on the replay, as I said, get your thoughts down there. Obviously, very, very much appreciated, and I always do try and read all of your comments. So let's get into it. Connor says Weghorst just announced by United. Well, of course, Wout Weghorst, the signing from Besiktas, the signing that I don't think many of us, or any of us really, were expecting coming into the January transfer window. We knew we needed a new number 9, but you know what? Weghorst, if Ten Hag wants him, I do have a lot of faith in Ten Hag, what we've been doing this season. He's shown me he's a very capable coach. He's someone who has, brought through a lot of decent players in his time as a manager and improved players as well. Just look at how Rashford's playing right now. So I have to back it. It's one of those signings where probably if I was the manager, I wouldn't have been going for Weghorst as my first priority. But, if Ten Hag wants it, then we have to get behind it. I think he's shown that we should be putting our faith into him, and a win tomorrow would do even more for that statement as well. So yeah, brilliant that we've kind of got it over the line. Hopefully we can get some more deals done in this January window, although to be honest with you, I don't see any more players coming through the door for the remainder of the month. But Weghorst, not too bad. As I said, we have to wait and see. We have to give him a chance because I think it's unfair to really judge him before he's actually kicked the ball for us. I know we've seen him in the Premier League before with Burnley, and he seemed to struggle a little bit, although he played well in patches, but he didn't really get the goal return that a lot of people would have wanted, obviously resulting in Burnley dropping down into the Championship. So clearly wasn't enough to save Burnley from relegation. But, we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see how Ten Hag uses him and what he does for us. So I'm willing to give him a chance. I'm willing to back Ten Hag and give Weghorst a chance. But cheers for joining, Connor. Appreciate it. Luca, thanks for joining as well. Make sure to check out his channel. Brilliant stuff over there. Not bad for an Arsenal fan, Luca, but no, he's a great guy. Make sure to check out his channel. And Rich is joining as well. Thanks for joining, Rich. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Make sure to check out Rich's preview. I was on there last night with Charlie. Really, really enjoyable preview. So make sure you do check it out if you haven't already. Some really, really interesting talking points gone through there. Just a very enjoyable stream on the whole. So yeah, make sure you do check that out. So yeah, I think, for me on Weghorst, I would say I'm willing to give him a chance. Let us know what you think on Weghorst in the live chat in the comment section down below, of course. But as a kind of 6-month loan deal, I don't think there's too much risk to it, to be honest. So not a bad deal in my opinion. Not a bad deal. But hopefully, we can kind of see some return from him, which is good. Connor's thinking if we win this, we have a chance, of course. We are close. 4 points off City going into this game, which, as I said at the start, usually we're about 8, 10, 15 points off City. Usually they're already out of sight by the time we play them. So the fact we are so close to them right now, and the fact we've got a potential opportunity to close the gap to 1 point and make it a very, very interesting top 4 race, or at least as I said, putting it up to you guys really. a potential title race. I mean, as I said, I'm a bit cautious right now. Maybe I'm a bit too cautious. I still think that Arsenal are going to be a very, very tough team to get past, really. And we obviously play them in next week, I think. I think that it's next weekend we play Arsenal. So we've got a bit of a tricky patch of fixtures with Man City at home, Crystal Palace away, and then Arsenal away. So I think we have to wait and see what happens after we get through these 3 next fixtures. But yeah, I mean, you have to be positive, I guess, with the run we've been on. Rich says, remember to like so YouTube promotes over news. Oh, appreciate that. Thank you very much, Rich. Appreciate it. Appreciate the shout out there, my friend. Turf Morehouse, thanks for joining, mate. Appreciate it. Obviously, very interested in the Weghorst story. Make sure to check out his channel, by the way. Brilliant stuff on Burnley. So if you haven't already, make sure to check out his stuff. Brilliant stuff over there. But yeah, as I said, we have to give him a chance. Obviously for Burnley, didn't really produce what Burnley were looking for, it seems anyway, considering they went down last season, unfortunately. But, we have to give him a chance, and hopefully Ten Hag's got some sort of plan for him. I mean, there were some rumours that he might be looking to have Weghorst as someone who's similar to a Sebastian Haller type role that he had at Ajax. But if he's half as good as Haller, then we should have a player that will contribute for us. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know, but it's one of those things where, his record in the Premier League isn't amazing, and that is something that does worry me. But at the same time, on a 6-month loan deal, there's not much risk to it, to be honest. Like, if it goes wrong, then we just send him back to Besiktas. It's not that much risk. So I don't mind it. I don't mind it too much. And we definitely need a presence in that number 9 role. But yeah, no, I think it's an interesting one. It's not one that any football fan really would have had on their radar coming into the January transfer window. But hey, football surprised you from time to time. Football surprised you from time to time, and it certainly surprised me. But yeah, going on to the Manchester derby. Man City coming into this game off the back of a 2-0 defeat away at Southampton, which obviously saw them go out of the Carabao Cup at the quarter-final stage. I think it was the first domestic knockout match that Pep Guardiola has lost in his Man City career, maybe even his entire footballing career. Although I don't think that's true. I think it's probably his Man City career. So a massive win for Southampton, who see themselves into the semi-final and got a tie with Newcastle. So over 2 legs. Who knows? Who knows what Southampton can do there? But a fantastic performance from them. So obviously the confidence will be knocked a little bit from City. But one thing I was discussing on Rich's channel, on Rich's preview, is that when City lose a game, their next game they seem to come into it very, very strong, very, very confident, and often looking to put right the wrongs of the previous game, and very motivated. And in some ways for City, the perfect game for them is a Manchester derby. One of the biggest games in their season, a game which they can really make a statement about the disparity between the two clubs. Obviously they've heard a lot of noise about how we've been improving, and people kind of hyping us up a little bit. I'm sure that's something that Pep and the coaching staff and the players have talked about. So they just need to show their quality, and they will come into this game with a little bit of a bee in their bonnet. They're going to be coming into it thinking, what, we're a little bit of a laughing stock midweek. This is where we show the world we're still here. We're still the quality side that we are. And a Manchester derby is a perfect way, it's a perfect game to do that in. So that does worry me. And of course, City weren't at full strength in that Southampton game for most of the game. Yes, towards the end they brought on De Bruyne and Haaland and these players, and they did look fairly strong. But ultimately, they weren't at full strength, so you can't fully judge City on their performance, and they will be at full strength for this game, and ultimately their best players will have had some rest because they spent the first half on the bench at St Mary's. So yeah, it's gonna be a very, very interesting game. Very interesting to see if Man City do come at it all guns blazing, and I think they will. I really do think they'll be looking to make a statement. Let me know what you guys think. Dan says, I just find it funny that Erik ten Hag wants an aerial threat. The first thing I noticed at Burnley was his lack of heading ability. Well, I mean, the only bit of heading ability I've seen from him was that goal he scored against Argentina in the World Cup. It was a nice little flicked-on header. But for Wolfsburg, he scored a few headers. But that was something that I have seen from Burnley fans on social media. Obviously, you mentioned it there, but yeah, it's almost a bit of a myth that just because he is 6'6", he's got a heading ability like Didier Drogba. Like it's not, it's seemingly not the case, and it's something which maybe Ten Hag. Well, I certainly hope Ten Hag's taken into consideration when he's planned and thought about this signing. As I said, it's very easy to kind of stereotype the kind of 6'6" big guy, but he does seem to be all right with his feet. He can create chances. Obviously, has a bit of innovation about him with the free kick goal he scored for the Netherlands that sent it to extra time. He has that little bit of innovation, and for me, the big thing that I want from Weghorst is just clinical finishing, which maybe Dan's laughing right now as I say clinical finishing, but I just want someone that can make a difference in a game. We can bring on, and he takes the chance. In games, especially when you're going for top four or title races, there's always very tight games where you just need one moment of magic to create an opening or to kind of stab it home from close range. You just need the player that can do that, and hopefully Weghorst can get himself in the right areas and make himself useful and create chances. I mean, I'm not saying he's a playmaker like Harry Kane, but I'm hoping he can do that. I hope he can do that. Let's see. Appreciate Rich, appreciate the share. Thank you very much. Appreciate the support. Connor says Mario Lemina returning to the Prem with Wolves just announced. That'll be interesting. He had an alright stint with Southampton. He wasn't too bad, to be fair, but it'll be very interesting to see how Lemina does with Wolves and under, of course, Lopetegui. Dan says, hold up, play ball at his feet, magical. He's just tarnished himself with our fan base over such a short space of time. He has self-centered temper like Ronaldo does. Not gonna lie, it's not encouraging hearing that last bit, to be fair. That's the last thing we need, really, especially because we do have such a tight-knit group of players right now since Ronaldo has departed. I think, ultimately, Ronaldo, last season was an unbelievable player, and I wouldn't say he was the problem at the club or anything, but I do think the dynamic changes slightly when you have a player of that magnitude come in who, let's face it, has a little bit of an ego because he's proven it time and time again that he is a fantastic footballer and he's used to being the best player in the team. And last season, you could probably argue he was the best player. He was a top goal scorer by a long way. And so probably that does create an interesting, potentially difficult dynamic in the dressing room. But as I said, I wasn't there, so I can't really say for certainty. But yeah, I mean, obviously, Ten Hag has done a really good job in kind of reuniting the squad, bringing in players that have got really good personality. So yeah, I'm hoping that we see the best side of Weghorst, and we don't see any of that that you're alluding to. But yeah, as I said, Man City this season, they've been fairly good, but Arsenal this season have been brilliant. I just don't think Man City have been as consistent as they would have hoped. I think since the World Cup, they've won 4 out of their last 6. They drew 1-1 with Everton, surprisingly, which was one of the shocks of the season for me. I really thought Everton were going to get an absolute drubbing at the Etihad, but they stuck to it and got a 1-1 draw, even though Haaland scored. They did actually stick to it and get a result. And obviously, they lost their last game to Southampton. So since the World Cup, consistency hasn't been the thing for Man City, which I think is good for us in terms of, they're not this kind of invincible force that we're used to seeing from them. They're a team that can be beaten, and hopefully that does give a lot of hope and a lot of confidence to those Manchester United players that we're not looking at this kind of unstoppable force, immovable object in Man City, where we're looking at a team that has fragilities and can be got at in the right spaces. So hopefully that's a good thing. Farhan, thanks for joining, mate. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. He says, what number is Weghorst, guys? I'm not sure. I don't know if they've actually released the number yet. I'll be honest. I didn't even know he was announced because I was too busy setting up my stream and stuff like that. So I haven't really been on social media just to tweet out the stream, whatever. But apart from that, I wasn't really on social media today. So I didn't even see it. It was obviously Connor helpfully telling us that he's been announced. So I'm sure that'll be I'm sure that'll be announced, and potentially we'll see a similar thing to what we saw with Casemiro, where he's paraded onto the pitch and kind of gets his guard of honour at Old Trafford before the start of the game. TTX, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Says Weghorst is better than Haaland. You heard it here first. I hope you're right, TTX. I hope you're right, my friend. I mean, when has he ever been wrong? Let's face it, when has TTX ever been wrong on anything? I'm willing to believe you. I'm willing to believe you, TTX. No, but thanks for joining, mate. Appreciate it. I hope you're doing well. But let's talk about United a bit. We've talked a bit about City. Yes, we know they're good. Yes, we know they've got an abundance of attacking talent. And they're going to be motivated like hell to beat us, especially after their 2-0 defeat. They're going to have a lot of... I don't know what you call it. They want to take out their frustrations on us, I think. But let's go with Man United. Let's look at my predicted 11. Let's just go straight into it because there's no time for messing about. So this is what I've gone with. This is my predicted 11. Let me know your predicted 11s in the live chat as well. I think, if I can remember rightly from the Charlton game, there's a couple of changes. From our last Premier League game against Wolves, I think it was. I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of changes from that team. What I do think is I think Casemiro and Fred is going to play in the pivot. And I know a lot of people will be saying Fred on the ball against Man City is an absolute nightmare. It seems like a dream for Man City fans. But for me, I do think you need that midfield stability. Man City have got an unbelievable midfield with Rodri, Gundogan and De Bruyne. They've got a very, very solid midfield. A midfield which, if you let run the show, will cause catastrophic problems for us. We saw it last season. We could hardly touch the ball. We only lost 2-0, but we were utterly dominated from start to finish in that game. And a big part of that was the midfield battle. So, whilst maybe it's not the most rock and roll solution, I do think that Ten Hag is going to go with the two Brazilians in the centre of midfield just to give it that solidity. I mean, Casemiro this season has been an unbelievable player for us, worth every penny. You can't say that about many signings that United have made over the years, but Casemiro right now looks to be worth every single penny, a Rolls Royce of a midfielder. And Fred, he tends to have decent games against Man City. Recently, he's been a lot better as a super sub, I have to say. But I think Casemiro and Fred in the midfield together, I think will work, and I think, will add a bit more stability there. Martinez and Varane starting together for the first time since the World Cup. Wan-Bissaka, of course, I don't know if Dallow's available for this game. I don't think Dallow's available. But if Dallow is available, then I probably would put Wan-Bissaka in. But just because of the injury concerns, and I think against City, you need to have every player 100% fit. I have gone with Aaron Wan-Bissaka instead of Dallow, and hopefully he can have one of those games like he did in Ollie's first full season, where in both games against City, he was an absolute colossus at the back. And then I've gone with Fernandes, Anthony, Rashford and Martial, a fairly solid front three, front four there. We've seen it in the last few games. It seems to be the one that Ten Hag prefers, and the one thing I'd say is obviously Martial. He's the one that hasn't really been in the goals. Anthony obviously getting a goal against Charlton. Rashford is just on the form of his life right now. And he's going to have a monster game against the likes of Walker if he is going to score goals and give us a chance of winning. Because, Anthony and Martial have both kind of struggled a little bit this season, I have to say, in terms of the goal department. But Martial is another one of those players who seems to love playing against Manchester City and seems to absolutely thrive on these big occasions. So, again, I hope Martial can do his usual act of turning up in this game. And we need our big players to step up. Obviously it's a very obvious statement to make, but we need our big players to take their chances and step up to the plate and pull us through this game. Because against City, you need your characters, and we have certainly a lot of characters, a lot of winners, but they need to step up. And I have confidence that they will do that as well. But that's my lineup. Let me know your thoughts on the lineup. Rich says Garnacho to set up a late winner. Hey, that would be a fairy tale story and a half, wouldn't it? Alejandro Garnacho getting the goal to win the derby. Unbelievable scenes. Similar to that Michael Owen goal in the 95th minute. I mean, that is hard to top that. But if Garnacho did that in the 95th minute, I think that would be one of the moments of my United supporting life, to be honest. But yeah, anyone really, I don't care. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter whether Erik Ten Hag himself comes onto the pitch and nods it in at the back post. So I honestly don't care who scores. Against City, it's just about taking the chances when they come to you, because they don't often give up too many opportunities. This season, they obviously have had a few injuries, especially in defence. Diaz, I don't think is available for this game. He's out with injury. So, they've had a few injuries in their back line, but Laporte and John Stones as well. John Stones has been brilliant this season. He had a fairly decent tournament with England, and he's carrying that on as well. If City do win the league, I think John Stones would have been a massive, massive part of that. So their backline is looking fairly solid, although obviously they have had a few injuries in that department, with Walker being out, of course, with Diaz as well. But as I said, their main threat, unsurprisingly, will come from their midfield in Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne, for me, is arguably one of the best midfielders of the Premier League era, one of the best midfielders of his generation, and I think probably you could go a step further and say he's 100% in that conversation for best Premier League midfielder of all time. I really, really do. With what he's won and the way he plays the game, he's always such a threat. And he's the one that always worries me. When he gets on the ball, he starts to move, he makes those passes. When he's in the groove, he's so difficult to stop. So that's something I'm really not looking forward to seeing is De Bruyne in that midfield looking to dictate the play. And that's why the midfield battle is so important. Colin says, apparently Everton need to make a sale or two and then they'll get Elanga on loan. I did hear some rumours about Anthony Elanga potentially going on loan to Everton. And you know what? I don't think it'd be the worst move for him. If he was getting regular first team football, I think that's what he needs. I mean, his confidence right now, I think, would be right to the floor, especially after that Charlton performance. He didn't really look, that enthusiastic. He had a similar approach to what we've seen from Rashford and Sancho, and I don't know what it is about our wingers suddenly kind of losing form. But Elanga this season really hasn't impressed. But I am, very hasty, and I really don't want to put too much negativity on the kid, because he is still a kid. He is still, fairly young. He's still learning the trade, and I'm sure he will get better with time. We have seen that there's a player in there. But ultimately, at this moment in time, at best, he's a squad player for us, at best. So, yeah, listen, for me, Elanga is someone that I really hope does, eventually play for Manchester United and have a spot, because he's an academy player and we've got a long history of bringing through academy players. And I really do want him to do well, just from a kind of football fan standpoint. It's always good to see young kids, achieving their dream. But maybe the loan move to Everton might be the best option for him. And if he does get first team football, then I really hope we can see the best of him. Similar to what we're seeing with Amad Diallo, and he's looking an unbelievable player right now for Sunderland. I've seen some Sunderland fans saying he's one of the best players they've seen at the Stadium of Light in their lives supporting Sunderland. So hoping that's true and not just kind of over the top false praise. But he has looked very good, and hopefully Diallo can come back to United with that same confidence, because he is a wonderful player. And we've seen that he can be a player that, becomes an important player for us in the future. Let's see. Stones and Diaz confirmed out for the game. Oh, Stones is out for the game. I didn't know Stones was out for the game. Did he pick up an injury against Southampton? But if that is true, obviously it's not nice for any footballer to be injured and be out of the game. But he's such a good footballer that I think that is a positive from United's point of view, in terms of John Stones. As I said, he's been very good for City. I think he's having one of his best seasons for City. And I think if he's out, it really does throw a cat amongst the pigeons. Although they have incredible depth in that position with Akanji and Laporte as two centre backs that can come in. They've got four arguably world class or close to world class centre backs to come in. So they've got a very, very good depth, I've got to say. As I said, there's my predicted lineup. We'll go through any last thoughts. I will give my score predictions. Let me know your score predictions in the live chat if you are still watching us. And also leave your score predictions in the comment section down below. Really do enjoy reading your comments. As I said, I interact with all you guys. So leave your thoughts in the comment section down below if you haven't already. Connor says lots of clubs looking to make moves. Yeah, it's been a fairly active January transfer window. Obviously, Chelsea loanee João Felix, or I should say Atletico Madrid's loanee João Felix, had a start to forget for Chelsea. Obviously a 3-match ban he's got to serve now. His I think Charlie was saying on Rich's stream his 6-month loan deal has turned into a 5-month loan deal. So no, but Felix is obviously a player which I think will improve Chelsea, but it's not started the best for him. So yeah, listen, this summer or this January, I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of big moves. Obviously, we have already seen that Ronaldo's moved, and you could argue in terms of following and just general interest, probably Ronaldo's move to Saudi Arabia is the biggest move so far. But I'm hoping that this Weghorst deal kind of goes under the radar a little bit, and in a few months' time we can see it as a really shrewd bit of business, and that's what I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. Owen's joining us. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Says, for once, I think City should be more worried about us than we are of them. That is very dangerous talk. Very dangerous talk. But you might be right. I think ultimately, we are the form team coming into this game. I think, what was it, 8 consecutive wins for Manchester United, I think it is. I might be wrong on that. I think I am wrong on that, to be fair. But we've been absolutely solid at Old Trafford as well. I think we've kept like, I don't really know how many clean sheets we've kept, but we've kept quite a few clean sheets at Old Trafford this season. We've been fairly formidable there. And so hopefully we can continue that against City, but it's a tall order. And, looking at the teams we played since the World Cup, none of them have any sort of quality like City have. So it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very, very difficult. And it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be an easy watch for United fans. But hopefully we get to the other side of it and get the result. Rich was asking earlier in the stream, would I take a draw? And I'll get into my score prediction now, actually. But I think I would take a draw now, like before the game was played. Just because, yes, we're the form team. Yes, we're at home. And maybe it is a little bit negative thinking, but against Man City, you just want to get through it. You just want to be able to get to the other side of it unscathed and, still very much in the hunt for top 4. A big loss in this game could really derail our season and derail our confidence. So I'd probably take a draw, although, in game, as the game played out, it'd be disappointing if we kind of created a lot of chances and came away with a draw. But if we were on the back foot for most of the game and just kind of soaked up a load of pressure and then we held out for a draw, I think you probably take it. But my prediction is 2-1 to Manchester United. I think my head is saying a 1-1 draw or potentially a narrow defeat. But my heart is saying 2-1. And sometimes you just got to go with your heart. Sometimes you just got to go with your heart, your gut feeling. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and be positive. I'm going to go 2-1 United. Let me know yours. Rich goes with 1-1. As I said, I'd probably take that at this moment in time. I wouldn't rip your arm off for it, but I'd probably take it. Bit of talk about Henderson, obviously. He did well. He did well in the penalty shootout, I've got to say. Rich has made his feelings known that Henderson can piss off. I want that shy keeper that let Martial's back pass in. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where Henderson, with the interview he did at the start of the season, in some ways you can understand his frustrations, but it didn't really endear himself to the fan base. I got to be honest. So I don't know if Henderson, especially if Ten Hag is still here at the end of the season, which I doubt he's going to be anywhere else. I don't think Henderson has got many plans to come back to United and stay at United, to be honest with you. Box, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. He says 5-1 to Napoli. Is it right now? Napoli 5-1 up on Juventus. Not a great scoreline for my man RB Comps if he's watching. Not brilliant for Juventus. But Napoli seems to be the leaders of Serie A right now. They're brilliant. Brilliant team to watch. But yeah, let me know final score predictions, anything like that. We will wrap up the stream very, very soon. So if you've got any final questions, final score predictions, let us know in the live chat. Box saying Martial out. I'm not sure. I'm not sure actually. He might be. When I was doing my research before, I didn't see. I didn't see whether he's out. We can check the Manchester United team news for the Manchester derby. Erik Ten Hag, of course, would have been speaking today. Let's see what he said. He said that Dalot. To be fair, he says. Well, this is a direct quote from Ten Hag actually. He said, "I think Diogo Dalot is not available, and Anthony Martial. He trained this morning, so we have to wait and see how he recovers from his training, and if he's available, we will make the decision tomorrow." So you might be right. You might be right, Box. Fair play to you. You might be right. Obviously, Ten Hag did mention that Martial could be out of this game, so we'll see. We'll see on the day. But if he is out, you're probably looking at playing Rashford up front and probably Elanga on the left-hand side. Which I'm not sure I'd really get behind, to be honest. But yeah, that's my predicted lineup. I think if Martial out, yeah, I think you summed it up actually. I think you've summed it up there with Garnacho, Rashford, and Anthony. I think that would probably be our best front line against City. He might look to put Bruno Fernandes on that left hand side and put Eriksen as the 10. So I don't know. But Adam, thanks for joining. Hope you're doing well. Adam, very good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. He also says, I play Pellistri over Elanga. I think Pellistri did impress in the kind of 5 minutes he came on the pitch, got the assist. Yeah, he's a very skillful player. Someone who I'm not sure how much opportunity he's going to get at United. I think there was rumours that his agent was pushing for a move away because he just wasn't really getting his opportunities. But he looks a very good player, especially on the ball. We've seen it a little bit in pre-season. He's a brilliant on-the-ball footballer. He's got very good technical ability. So we'll wait and see what Ten Hag does. We'll wait and see the decision he makes, whether Pellistri goes out on loan or whether he stays here. We'll see. We'll see. So let's see. Rich says, I might try and do a call in soon. The match finishes. If anyone wants to join, yeah, get on that, guys. If you are a United fan and do enjoy sharing your opinions on Manchester United, make sure you're around Rich's stream at the end of the game, which of course begins at 12:30, I think. So it's an early kickoff. So yeah, should be an interesting one. Early kickoffs always throw up interesting results, so hopefully that's a good thing for us coming into this game. My friend Borat from Kazakhstan, big Man United fan. I heard. Very nice. I don't know why I did that. But no. That threw me off a little bit, Adam. But yeah, no. I just realised your profile picture was Borat, actually. I just realised that. Oh, really good. Very good. But anyway, I think I'll probably wrap it up here, guys. I want to thank everyone for watching. I really appreciate it. Obviously, it's Friday night, so the night is still young for you party people, or whatever you're doing on a Friday night. But listen, as I said, thanks for watching. And leave your thoughts in the comment section down below if you're watching on the video, or watching on the replay, watching of the video. Leave a like if you haven't already as well. Really appreciate that, of course. And subscribe to the channel if you are new. Hopefully a good result in tomorrow's game. Wout Weghorst has arrived as well. What a time to be a Red. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Cheers.